Good evening and welcome to Real Fellas Talk Sports. I'm your host, Larry Abels, and I'm joined again by my great friends on the panel. And I'm going to introduce them to you singularly. First, we're going to go to the great city of Indianapolis, and I'm going to introduce David Burnett. And David, for our new listeners, is there anything particular about Indianapolis they should know?
We're hosting the NBA All Star Game in just a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. It'll be live.
And I guess it keeps its moniker as what? What do they call it?
It's the sports capital of the world. You know what it's called. You know better than that.
Okay. Welcome, my friend. Thank you. And next, I'm going to introduce longtime friend, high school classmate, Chuck Snowden. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey, Larry, I'm great. It's Wednesday night. It's 8 o'clock. I'm with you guys. I love it. We're going to chop up a week in sports. Can't wait. And I'll second David's. Indianapolis hosts those things, man. Those sporting events. They do a really good job.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you much.
And last but not least, the sports doctor himself, Earl Gogo Rush. How you doing, Earl?
I'm doing pretty good, Larry. To be honest with you, I have to go down to Comcast tomorrow. This is a true story. I have to go to Comcast tomorrow because I was watching Sports Center this morning, and they had the panelists on there talking about how screwing great the facilities were at Indianapolis. As soon as they said that, I took my remote. You know, I have mental tantrums. I threw it against the wall. It's broke. I can't even change the channel on the TV now. So as soon as they talking about,
all because they mentioned Indianapolis.
It was it's so great down there. We can do everything within 8 blocks. I'm like, shit, there's a lot of blocks. That ain't that convenient to me. What is all the hype about the stupid facilities in Indianapolis? But other than that,
Earl,
fine.
You are in trouble now. You are in trouble now.
I think Mr. Burnett's going to have us out there so he can give us a tour of the city.
I think we need to do an on location Real Fellow Sports Talk right downtown.
Hey, David, maybe you can get us some passes to some press passes to the All-Star game. That'd be pretty nice.
I'll do the best I can.
Hey, much appreciated. Hey, guys, let's jump right into this, okay? This is Super Bowl week. So we're going to start off the show, and I'm going to ask you who your predictions are. And we have our friend, Mr. Finner. Thanks for joining us again, sir. Appreciate it.
What's up, Gregory?
So, David, I'm going to start with you. Who's going to win the big game Sunday?
Oh, boy. Actually, this is as close a lead into the Super Bowl as I've seen in a number of years. I would say on paper, it's San Francisco. Historically, it should be Kansas City. I'm going to say it's going to be Kansas City.
Okay. And let's see, Lauren Lassiter also thinks it's going to be Kansas City.
Sure it is.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Lauren Lassiter. Her birthday's tomorrow, so happy birthday in advance, Lauren.
Birthday, Lauren.
Happy Lauren. Happy birthday.
Chuck, who's going to win this game?
The Kansas City Chiefs. They have a quarterback named, I think his name is Patrick Mahomes. And I'm like Earl has said to us for years, I'm done betting against that guy or going against it. Not that I've done it a lot. And it's not that Brock Purdy is not good and he's been fantastic, but Patrick is magical. And in these moments is when he really shines. So I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs because of him.
And Earl, who do you like in this game?
I like Kansas City. I always go for the team that has the better quarterback. They have the better quarterback without a doubt. The gentleman for the 49ers, I've been hard on him all year. This guy's good, whether I want to admit it or not. This guy can play. He is not a game manager as he has been portrayed. But Kansas City to make so the show can go along. Kansas City will win because of their quarterback.
So I'm looking at the
Hi,
whole.
Sharice. Thanks for
Hey,
joining
Sharice,
us.
how you doing?
Jeez.
So I'm looking at the whole panel picking Kansas City. My two nieces picking Kansas City. I'm not on the show, so I may not pick. But if I was going to pick, I was going to pick San Francisco, and I think
Kung
they're
You just
winning.
Fu.
did. You just did.
Just did.
What's
Carol.
up, Carol?
Thanks for joining us.
So you guys are that sold on Kansas City, but Chuck, what will it take for San Francisco to win?
Well, I mean, all these big games come down to turnovers. And in this case of the 49ers, not only does Bryce almost need to play, a turnover-free game, but McCaffrey, hope I said that right because David will correct me,
Yes, I will.
Debo, and Kittles, they all have to play good. And I don't know, something's wrong with the 49ers right now. They're not playing their best game, but all of their stars have to show up and they can't turn the ball over.
So Greg also likes Kansas City. Everybody likes Kansas City.
Right?
Earl, is there anything San Francisco can do to win that game?
They can hope that the Kansas City receivers have played like they normally played the year. If they play like they played all year, they can win. But if the Chiefs receivers don't drop every ball that's thrown to them, no, they can't.
Okay. Is it going to be close, Earl?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I don't know what the line is. I haven't checked yet, but it'll be within 4 points.
Okay. David, what does San Francisco have to do to win?
Play error-free football.
Yeah.
If McCaffrey can run like he has been running most of the season, that's going to be difficult for Kansas City to stop. Brock Purdy is a pretty good quarterback. He will play fairly well if he doesn't get intimidated.
Right.
It's hard for me to go against Kansas City. It's just hard. Mahomes is just a special quarterback. Quarterback dominates the NFL these days, and it will be very difficult for San Francisco to get past the Kansas City mystique, because I think San Francisco is a better team, but they do not have the mystique of 6 straight years of Kansas City has, going to the AFC Championship game and then to a couple of Super Bowls as well.
Hey, Earl, I guess Lauren remembers how you lambasted her for talking about Kelsey earlier, so she has a question for you right now.
Yeah, I believe he will come through.
Okay.
But I'm just considering what Kung Fu had said about the game is rigged. What would make him say something like that? I mean, why would he say something like that? I don't understand. What do the refs get out of that besides money about fixing the game?
You can go to prison.
So you know what? I feel like all of our viewers are going against me. I think Kansas City has to play the error-free game to win the game. I think San Francisco will run the ball on them. Unlike Baltimore, I think McCaffrey will get the ball. I think Debo will get the ball, and they'll run it on them. And I think San Francisco's defense is pretty good.
Well, they have the better. They have the better players collectively. They do, but Kansas City has been there. They have enough players who have been to the big game, who have gone through it. And it's not just Mahomes. We talk about Mahomes because it's become a quarterback league, but it took a better defense for Kansas City to finally win a Super Bowl. They've got players who've been in the Super Bowl. Travis Kelce is the best pass catcher. I'm not saying wide receiver or tight end. He's the best pass catcher in football. He's still on that team. It makes a difference.
Okay.
I mean, if you look back just on last year's Super Bowl, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I mean, Mahomes was almost perfect. I mean, just big play after big play after big play. he knows what he's magical, man. That dude is magical. And the defense is better. And I remember I think they said Kadarius Toney might be back for this game. And I remember last year he caught a long touchdown and he had a big punt return. Now, again, he dropped a lot of passes this year. But, I mean, they have a collection. They just know what they're doing. They really do.
You know, I think they have a very good team. And I think one of you mentioned San Francisco didn't look right this year. But Kansas City doesn't look right to me either. I mean,
they didn't until the last couple of weeks.
I didn't think they looked that good against Baltimore.
Like a win is a win.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I didn't think they looked that good. They definitely won the game, but they didn't. You know, they got shut out in the second half.
I agree with you on that point. They didn't look Kansas City sharp, but they looked Kansas City Super Bowl.
And that wasn't chopped liver. That wasn't chopped liver they were playing in Baltimore either.
No, I agree. I'm going to have to eat crow because everybody in the whole world is going against me. So I'm taking on the world and taking San Francisco.
San Francisco still has the best team on paper, so it's not a stretch.
A lot of stars.
For San Francisco.
Okay, we're going to switch to a little local aspect, and Earl, I'll start with you. The Commanders hired Dan Quinn. What do you think of that hire?
I don't think much of it, so I hope we don't spend a lot of time on this subject. I don't understand it at all, and I also don't understand the offensive coordinator as well. But to answer your question directly, I don't think it was a good choice, Dan Quinn.
Why do you feel that way?
I think they need a special coach. There's nothing special about him. That doesn't really answer your question, but that's the only answer I have for you.
Okay, you don't feel he's special. Okay, Chuck, how do you feel about it?
So initially, I didn't like it at all. I mean, I hated it, right? Because I wanted Greg says thumbs down.
Okay, Greg.
I wanted a young, offensive-minded person. We need a quarterback. I don't know if we're going to draft him or get Justin Fields. I don't know what we're going to do, but we needed a quarterback. We need an offensive guy who knows what they're doing. I wanted a young, like somebody from the Lions offensive coordinator or the Texans offensive coordinator. Now that I've said that, and I've had time for this thing to, settle in, I don't mind it as much. We hired the offensive coordinator. They say he's creative. He coached Patrick Mahomes in college at Texas Tech. This guy Quinn, he knows the NFC, so he knows the Cowboys, and he knows the Eagles, and he knows the Giants. And look, he took the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl. So now that I've let things settle, I don't mind it as much.
But you left out the fact that they lost a over 20-point lead. I can't hire anyone. I don't care if it was one game. They could have won 100 games in 10 years out of 101. If you're a coach that lost that lead against the Falcons, I can't hire you. I just can't hire you.
Even though he lost that in the Super Bowl, I know that looks bad, but he got to the Super Bowl.
Falcons to the Super Bowl.
It could have been against St. Anthony CYO team. A crucial game like the Super Bowl, you can't lose a 28-3 lead. You expect to get hired by me. That's all.
And I guess they gave up 48 points in the last game against Green Bay, too. David, any thoughts on Dan Quinn?
I have no problem with Dan Quinn. He's been to a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. He took the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl, and he wasn't on the field making any tackles, wasn't making any passes. A lot of times we get all caught up into the coach this, the coach. The game is played by football players who are 200 to 400 pounds big. That's the deal. And if you make mistakes, as many of them do, you make a fumble, you throw an interception, that's what changes the game. It's not the coach. Most coaches are coaching the same plays, the same strategy, the same intensity. It's the players who have to respond to that. And I have no problem with Dan Quinn. He's a professional coach. Am I a Washington Commanders fan? No. Do I hope they'll do better? Yeah, I think they'll do better.
Well, my nieces apparently don't like him too much either.
unless I'm mistaken, I was under the assumption that he was the head coach. I'm not sure. I mean, I didn't get my facts straight. If he's just a defensive coach, if he was just a defensive coach,
He's the head coach. Dan
He's the
Quinn.
head.
he was the head coach, right? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. We can't skirt that responsibility. When you're the head coach, what happens is fall back on you. Fool, all you got to do is say, override the offensive coordinator and say, we have to run the ball. So, no, we can't not absolve him of that responsibility. He was a head coach.
I hear you.
So let me throw this question out because I was talking to a good buddy of mine in Baltimore the other day. Who was responsible for Baltimore not running the ball against Kansas City? Was it the OC or was it the head coach or both? David, who do you think?
It's first of all, it's always going to be the head coach. In the end, the offensive coordinator is not no offensive coordinator on any team, no matter what his status is doing it on his own. He's gotten directions from the head coach. This is what I'm thinking that we should be doing. Give me a set of plays that will fix that. That's what the head coach should be doing. It's still, you've got to execute on the field. You've got to make tackles. You've got to catch passes. You can't drop balls, and coaches don't do that.
Chuck.
Okay. Well,
one of the things I want to ask you, I heard them interview Harbaugh at halftime. They said, "What do we need to do?" He said, "We need to run the ball more." What happened in the second half? They didn't run the ball. Whose fault do you think it is?
I think the buck stops at the head coach. I really do, because he can make the adjustment. He can tell the offensive coordinator, "Look, we're going to do something different," or what have you. And I agree with David for the most part. At the end of the day, the players play. Once you prepare them, put them out there, they got to play. Although, David, there was a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, and I don't care what anyone says to me, they were wrong for not running the ball down on that goal line and calling for that pass play instead of giving that ball to Marshawn Lynch. And I'll never forget. I mean, I'm not a Seattle Seahawks fan in terms of that's not my team, but if that was my team, it would be unforgivable for me what they did in that.
We have to kind of relitigate that again and again.
We don't have to relitigate it, but that was I'm just making a point that the coaches do make decisions that can impact.
Yeah, they can make it. But Russell Wilson didn't throw the best pass. It should have been a quarterback sneak, not a sneak, but around the end. That would have been the best play. A fake into Marshawn Lynch. And then a quarterback bootleg that would have scored the touchdown. That's the play I would have called.
So Earl, you're blaming the head coach or the offensive coordinator in that Atlanta game when they blew the Super Bowl.
I'm old fashioned.
Okay.
If people don't know what that means, if you're in charge, whatever happens, whoever's in charge is the fault. I don't care. Okay. That's why you're in charge. You're supposed to take those responsibilities.
That's why you get the big money.
That's the
is that the game that David Flores or David, what you call him, caught the pass on his helmet? Is that the same?
No.
No.
That's probably like 10 years before, Chuck. I'm not sure what area you're talking.
That was like 2007. Yeah.
So I want to make another point though, that Larry, about our decision on this coach. So we thought maybe this offensive coordinator in Detroit, 37 years old. We thought this guy, maybe the Texans offensive coordinator, 36 years old. And both of them chose to stay with their teams. In fact, we were flying out to Detroit and the guy canceled the interview, the 37-year-old. So is that a signal to us who like the Commanders that people still think we're a joke? Because how in the world can you be 37 and 36, and you get an opportunity to get a new coach, a new owner, be the new coach, the new owner, you can pick your quarterback, etc., and you turn us down to stay the offensive coordinator of the Texans?
Let me offer some insight into that. You're having an open question. Yeah. I think any of us can answer that.
Sure.
The reason that some coaches don't take certain opportunities, it doesn't either feel right, isn't the right situation for it. They're not ready for it. They may not want to admit that they're not ready for it. They know one side of the football. If you notice, a number of the 8 coaches hired this year were defensive minded coaches. So what do they say regarding defensive minded coaches? They are so-called leaders of men. Offensive minded coaches. So and I hate the terminology offensive minded, defensive minded are supposed to be the strategic wizards, leaders of men, strategic wizards. So this year they've gone to leaders of men. First of all, you got to be a leader of men to run a good football team. You've got to be able to handle your offensive coaches, your defensive coaches, your special teams coaches, your players. You've got to be involved with everything. One of the worst coaches of all time that I ever saw in the NFL was Steve Spurrier, who did not give one damn about his defensive team. Not one damn. He didn't even know the players. It was a disgrace. It was a disgrace.
No, Buddy Ryan was like that. Matter of fact, he didn't even know the defensive players. He used to call them by numbers.
He didn't know the offensive players.
He didn't know the defensive players either. He just called them by their numbers. Number 72 is pretty good. He knew them. He knew their numbers. He didn't know their names.
Well, I'm not going to lump Buddy Ryan down with Steve. Steve Spurrier was an absolute complete joke.
So you see what Greg that point that Greg made right there, that the Lions OC thought that our team is run by basketball guys, and that's what I was really trying to say out loud, which is I'm wondering if our perception is still, even though we got a new owner and all that stuff.
So let me comment on that, Chuck. He also turned down the Seahawks too. All right, I assumed he was just happy where he was and wasn't ready to move on yet. Okay, because he turned down the Seahawks as well. He told them he wasn't interested. He went off, both of them he was supposed to interview with, and he told both of them he wasn't going to interview with them.
The question I have is, Chuck, what are you asking? You're asking, is the perception? I don't understand your question. You're saying the perception is. You're wondering whether the perception is are the Commanders still joke? What other perception could anyone possibly have of them? So I don't even understand your question. How else could the Commanders be looked at as anything but jokes at this present time? Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. They've shown since 1990s they're not going to do anything. So why would the perception change because they have a new coach and new administrator? We don't know whether they know what they're doing.
Well, I think I don't
understand the question. Huh?
Well, I think now that Snyder and the previous management is gone, perhaps people might look at them differently. I think they will look at them differently.
Why would they? They started off with ridiculous choices. Why? Tell me why.
Well, when he's talking about the head coach, I know you don't like Dan Quinn. I mean, did you have a problem with the general manager? If the general manager was going to hire you,
Yes, I have a problem with the general manager. Why do you hire that guy from USC? You don't have Caden. You don't have that quarterback that's coming up. So what is the point of you hiring this guy?
Maybe
first of all, let me just jump in here. The offensive coordinator from USC, the former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, etc., and Texas Tech. There are a number of quarterbacks, and just because it's Caleb Williams, and he coached Caleb Williams for all of 1 year as an assistant coach. Let's be very clear about that. He was an assistant coach at USC, and he wasn't the offensive coordinator. He wasn't the offensive coordinator at USC. So he has a little bit of a relationship, but he does know quarterbacks, and there are a bunch of quarterbacks who are available. And I think that's what the Commanders might have been looking at.
One thing that I really liked about Quinn, when I heard his press conference, he didn't use, and my nieces were suggesting this, he said, we're not rebuilding here. He didn't use the word rebuilding. And to me, as a consumer of sports, I don't want rebuilding. Yeah. I want you to win now. Now, they might not be that good, but I think once you take the attitude, we're rebuilding. What I hear is expect us to lose. Now, I still sort of expect them to lose, but at least he doesn't do that. and I think that's a good
Mhm.
step in the right direction. I'm going to move on. I'm going to name 3 coaches, and I want you guys to tell me who, if any, will get the first job. Carroll, Eric Bieniemy, and Bill Belichick. And I know they're not going to get a job this year. I'm talking about first, who will be the next head coach, if any out of those? So, Earl, who will be first, Belichick, Pete Carroll, or Eric Bieniemy?
I don't think none of them will be a coach again.
And that's certainly a possibility. Okay. Chuck.
I think if of those choices, and I hear you go, and I was leaning that way as well. But if one of those 3 gets it, I think it'll be Belichick. And I think that the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is on a 1-year contract. They just lost the defensive coordinator. They just lost another member of the defensive staff as well. I hope he also brings Al Harris over with him too. So I think Dallas is not going to do so well next year, and I think Belichick will get that job, the Dallas Cowboys.
David, which one is the first one to get a job?
The first one to get a job will be Eric Bieniemy. At some point, I don't know when he'll get that first job. It could be 10 years from now, but it'll be Eric Bieniemy. I don't think that any of the NFL teams want 70-something-year-old coaches anymore, no matter what their history is. Bill Belichick is no question the greatest NFL coach in history. Pete Carroll, a national champion in college, an NFL champion, Super Bowl champion with the Seahawks. 2 70-something-year-old coaches, no matter how great that they are, you're not going anywhere with a 70-something-year-old coach. You're not. I don't care how good your record is. No, you're
Hey,
not.
Charles Jackson. And how
What's up,
about
Charles?
those New York Knicks?
Yeah, hey, what's up, Jackson? The Knicks still stink.
Chicago has the number 1 pick. Chuck, what are they going to do with that pick?
Well, that's a good question. I think they're going to take Caleb Williams. I really do. I believe that's made their decision, and I think it's going to be Caleb Williams. The question is, in my opinion, do we, Washington, want Justin Fields? And if we do, we got to go get him. I would prefer to get Justin Fields over Drake May or Jaden Daniels. I mean, I'm just rolling. We keep rolling the dice on these college quarterbacks, and some just don't. I think Justin Fields has potential.
Now, Washington has actually rolled the dice on people like Fitzpatrick and Carson Wentz and some pro quarterbacks. It hasn't worked out that well.
Well, I just hope
Okay.
that regime is done and we got some fresh people who know what they're doing.
So you think Chicago's going to use the number 1 draft pick and
Caleb
Justin
Williams.
Fields is going to be traded?
So I think Fields is going to end up in Atlanta or Washington.
Okay. Earl, what do you think Chicago will do with the number 1 pick?
Oh, they will use it to pick. They need a quarterback. They're going to get a quarterback. They're going to use the pick on Caleb Williams.
Use the pick and trade
Justin
Justin
Fields.
Fields?
If somebody will take him, everybody's talking about, there are a lot of people he can get number 1 and 2 for him, 2 number 1s. I don't even know who will want him. I'm not impressed. I've never been impressed. And not because this guy played for a Big Ten school either. I've never been impressed with this guy. Never. They need to trade him as soon as possible. And thank the Lord for whatever they can get.
So, David, I'm going to come to you. Are they going to just trade the number 1 pick and get a whole bunch of draft picks and stick with Justin Fields, or what do you think Chicago will do?
Well, you got to look at a number of factors. Next season, they've got to decide whether to pay Justin Fields big money.
Yeah.
Because of the way the bargaining contract works out.
Good point.
So it might be that they might be forced to let him go, pick Caleb Williams, get 5 years of a rookie contract, and as opposed to 1 year, because I don't see there's a real difference between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. They're the same guy. One guy has 4 years of experience in the NFL. The other guy has yet to play in NFL. I think they're the same dude. So it doesn't really make a difference in terms of play. The question is, are are the Bears willing to pay him big money? And I'm not sure that they are.
Hey, Greg, when you get a chance, let us know what your question is about Caleb Williams. This is really intriguing here.
I told you I like Greg. He's real. I like him. I like because he comes on the show. He be saying some wild stuff. What kind of questions do you have about Caleb Williams?
Well, we like all types of opinions, so that's.
I think he's more like Caleb. I think he's more like Pat Mahomes. I do. I think Caleb is more like Pat Mahomes.
People talk about him being a generational player. I have to see him in the NFL before
I know it's just hard
to make that type of comparison. Yeah.
I know.
Well, I mean, let's just, if you look at quarterbacks in general, they miss on quarterbacks all the time. Brock Purdy is a perfect example. Tom Brady's another example. We can go on and on and Joe Montana, on and on and on. Patrick Mahomes was not the first quarterback pick.
Trubisky went ahead of him.
And Mitch Trubisky was the second quarterback pick. So there was somebody who actually believed that Mitch Trubisky is better than Patrick Mahomes. So who thought that? What idiot thought that?
And is he still in the league making decisions? Right?
Probably. whoever that person or persons are, probably still in the league, still making mistakes. So there's going to be a 5th round quarterback somewhere who's going to light up the NFL. It always happens. I mean, what do we expect?
So let me pose the question to the group, and I know I'm breaking protocol here, but around the panel, just real quick, Larry, who will be our starting quarterback next year?
Oh, I don't know. I think Daniels or Drake May.
Go. Who will be the Commanders' starting quarterback next year? This is a big question.
The Commanders? Oh, they'll do something stupid and pick this Drake guy.
How about you, David? Who will be the Commanders' starting quarterback?
The Heisman Trophy winner should be
Jayden Daniels.
Jayden Daniels should be the quarterback that they pick. If they pick anybody else, it's a mistake. But historically, as Earl and others have mentioned, Washington has always made mistakes over the last 25 years.
That's why I wanted to be Justin Fields, because at least I know him. I don't know those other guys.
Well, Justin Fields has at least played NFL football.
And he's put up some
that
numbers.
Matters, and he's put up numbers. He can, and we know he can run.
Big, strong kid, right?
I'm guessing
his arm is no comparison to Justin Fields in accuracy or strength. That's why I'm kind of befuddled when I heard you say that they're the same player.
I think they are. I think they are the same player. First of all, Fields, you've got to look at him as he was at Ohio State. He was a great quarterback at Ohio State. All we know about Caleb Williams is he's from D.C. He went to Gonzaga College High School, and he played at Oklahoma and he played at USC. He's not played in the NFL. We don't know a damn thing about how he can do in the NFL. Nothing. All I know is the last time I saw him, he was crying like a bitch.
I think the thing going against Justin Fields is one of the points David made, having to pay him next year. Yeah. And we've seen Justin Fields in the NFL. We're still kind of unsure about him. You know, if we had to make a call based on his performance, we'd probably say he's not there. But I wonder if he's really had any stability as far as coaching and stuff like that.
No.
Bringing him here will not give him stability. He'll be yet another coach. So right before you have to pay him. So I kind of think Washington won't get him, you know. Last thing on football. Kung Fu David is correct.
Okay. Is that correct, meaning Fields and Caleb Williams are the same player?
I think that's what he means.
Wow.
He says crazy stuff too, right, Earl?
Hey, everybody has different opinions, you know. And I don't know what David or what we know as far as his playing with this pro. I've watched this guy religiously all year round. I know his arm is stronger, and I know his arm is more accurate than
at the USC level, where
That's the only
at
time I've seen him at
Oklahoma level,
Florida.
where receivers are wide open all the damn time. Show me him getting in a tight window consistently, then I'll believe you.
If you have seen some of the games that I have seen, you would.
I've seen enough of Caleb Williams. He's a pretty good quarterback.
It's no way you've seen enough of him if you say that this guy is not more accurate.
He's a college quarterback. All the guys who played in college are pretty damn good. All of them, Drake May, everybody is good in college. All of the guys they're talking about as quarterbacks leading into the NFL are pretty good in college.
What do you think the people who make draft picks? What are they?
Well, first of all,
what are they making adjustments on? They're making adjustments on what these guys have done in college.
What they see sometimes is not always what they need to see. Brock Purdy threw for damn near 10,000 yards at Iowa State, and nobody thought he was anything more than Mr. Irrelevant. They were wrong.
And Trey,
that's all I'm saying.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
Hey, we're going to leave it there. Chuck, I don't think they're going to agree on this. Do you?
No, I think it's a big. No, I don't think so. All of us, but I think this is the biggest question going on in Chicago and in Washington right now is this whole subject we're talking about. Because I think it's a hard decision. I think it's a real hard decision.
So one last thing with the NFL, it's chaos in Dallas. Okay,
Good.
Right. Well, we had CeeDee Lamb's mother posted on social media that Dak isn't it. Michael Parsons comes on and says Dan Quinn and Dak has to go. He's got half of it right already. And then Jerry Jones says, we're going to go as far as Dak took us, and we went as far as Dak is taking us. Dak's contract is up. Chuck, do you think all three of them will be there next year? CeeDee Lamb, Parsons, and Dak, or you think any of them will be gone?
I think CeeDee Lamb and Parsons are going to be there. I don't know what they're going to do about Dak. I don't, because they got to make a decision on the money. And Dak is just regular season Dak. He ain't bad. Playoff Dak, nah.
They're already paying Dak big money.
$40 million.
Last year, didn't he? His total payout was like 90-some million.
Yeah, they're going to take a big cap hit next year, and the way they can avoid that is extend him, and that's really what the issue is. If they extend him, they could pay the balance out over a longer period of time. So, David, you think Dak will be back, or
yes, of course
you think any of those guys will be?
Yes, okay. All of them will be back.
Okay,
because that's what Dallas does. The former coach of the Cowboys, what's his name, is on TV now. Quarterback.
Quarterback Romo.
No.
The coach.
The coach.
His brother coached in the league too.
No,
Troy Aikman.
No, not Troy Aikman.
Okay,
Jimmy Johnson. Back up to Troy Aikman, who was the head coach for 10 years of the Cowboys.
I don't know who that is.
Who's now on NBC.
I don't know what were you going to say about him?
I don't even know what I wanted to say about him.
we got some help. We got some help.
Oh, Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett. Thank you,
Greg.
Gregory.
He said, "Let me rescue these guys." Appreciate it, Greg.
Sounds like
Earl. Just a bunch of old men in here.
Earl, are all those guys going to be there next year?
Yep.
They'll all be there. So Dallas just has their off-season, chaos, and it blows over. I was thinking Jimmy Johnson was kind of negotiating in the press about, how much he's going to get back. I think he knows he's going to pay him. Now, we're going to pivot to the NBA. The All-Star teams were announced.
Where is that game being played?
In the home of basketball.
Okay.
Is that Madison Square Garden or someplace like that?
No, it's not. It's the number one arena in the NFL, in the NBA.
Okay. I was going to ask who was snubbed. Now, we're going to leave the East out because the East had 2 injuries with Embiid and Julius Randle, and Trae Young has been added, as has been Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody else in the East that has to be there. Well, I'll throw that out there. Is there anybody else in the East that's not on the team that you think still should be on there? And Chuck, I'll start with you.
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
that's fair.
Not Siakam
No.
or Porzingis.
Or OG or Porzingis. No.
Okay. Derek White, none of them. Okay.
Not even playoff Jimmy. Not even playoff Jimmy.
Okay. David, what about you? Anybody snub like Miles Turner or somebody like that?
Miles Turner could have been on the All-Star team, but he's just become a solid basketball player. He's not an All-Star, but he's a solid basketball player now. He's upped his game after 9 freaking years.
What's up, Richard? How you doing?
Hey, Richard.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Richard, how you doing, bro?
Like the hat. Like the hat.
Earl, anybody in the East that you think should be on a team that hasn't been added to it?
No.
Okay, let's.
In one sentence, David says Miles Turner could have been on the All-Star team, but he's not an All-Star player. So how can he be on the All-Star team if he's not an All-Star player?
A lot of people make the All-Star team, Pro Bowl, whatever, and they're not All-Stars. So it doesn't mean anything.
I think that's funny that all of us, not one of us said Jimmy Butler, and just think how great he plays in those playoffs, and we don't even think he belongs.
The problem with Jimmy Butler,
he missed a lot of games. He missed a lot of games this year.
We talking about who's playing this year. We're not talking about the playoffs, Chuck.
Right, but
What is he doing this year? Is he an All-Star this year, Charles?
Well, some of it is reputation and all that stuff, right?
a lot of it is reputation.
Right, he's a star
But Jimmy
player.
Butler hurts himself because he's too unselfish. Historically, he's been too unselfish.
Jimmy Butler plays a different game in the regular season. He's very good. In the postseason, then he becomes an all-star player. He's not an all-star player.
Usually,
he's made the all-star team before. This year, he just hasn't been playing.
We're not talking about all that. We're talking about this year. He's not an all-star this year.
He missed too many games this year.
He's not an all-star this year. Period. I don't care what he's done in the playoffs and all that. He's not playing all-star caliber basketball. That's all.
Earl, while I have you, who in the West should be on the team that's not on there?
Oh, I know Earl's got one he likes.
Oh, I think. Did they ever put Darren Fox on there?
No, he's not on there.
Well, that would be the answer to the question that you're asking.
I knew that. I knew that was coming.
Just
So if we put him on, who are we
I
gonna
want to
take
put
off?
Paul George on the team. Why is
he's
Paul
played-
George on the team?
He's played pretty well this year.
Reputation.
He's played well this year.
Well, then Charles has a point, and I apologize, Charles, because if he made it because of reputation, then Jimmy Butler should have made it on reputation. Because neither one of them playing all-star basketball this year. Charles, Paul George, or the other guy.
Well, I got somebody I would take off instead of him. I'll let you know later. David, anybody in the West that's been snubbed?
I would say Sabonis maybe. Sabonis has been an all-star for like the last 4 seasons in a row. He's one of the cogs that guides Sacramento. He probably could have made it, but he's kind of a poor man's Jokic.
So if you put him on, who you taking off?
Paul George.
Okay. Chuck.
Fox. But if I put Fox on there, who would I take off? See, that's the problem. That West is pretty.
George.
But that team is on fire, and George.
What is we not vote the Clippers team? We vote all-star.
I think he's playing well.
I do, yeah.
All-star. Okay.
I don't know who I would
Are
take
you
off.
saying he should be an all-star because his team is playing better?
I
Is
think
that
he's
what-
playing well too.
Okay. Do you think that he's playing better than all? If you're going by individual comparison,
Okay.
not everyone, but how about let's start at the stats?
let Chuck respond, and I'll tell you who I'll take off.
So here's the thing: the only person I would take off, I guess, and I wouldn't do it, is Booker, because Booker has been hurt a little bit too this year. He has missed a lot of games. I wouldn't put Fox ahead of Booker. So I wouldn't.
Did Durant make the team?
Yes, he's a starter.
Who?
Oh, Lord.
Durant.
He shouldn't be.
See, I'd probably take Karl Anthony Towns off, and he's playing okay, but I think George is playing a little better than him. Other people, what about Jamal Murray? Anybody think?
Know the stats between Paul George and De'Aaron Fox? And if we are going to go by stats, are we just going to go by the teams playing better? Is that how we're doing it this time?
See, I haven't broken it down like that because I don't know how many games one is played over the other. I don't know what their points per game is. I don't know any of that, so I can't.
Fox is 26 point something, and George is 23 point something. So now, if we're not going to go by the stats, why would we put him on there? Because Clippers team is playing better than.
Because the Clippers are in Los Angeles and Sacramento's in Sacramento. It's that simple.
When I looked at the first selections before they put made any adjustments, the only guys that were, I think, in the top 20 scorers that weren't on their team were Trae Young and Fox. And I think Fox was number 9 and Trae Young might have been number 11. So most of the other top scorers are out there.
Well, all I know is our guy, Tyrese Halliburton, is a starter in the All-Star. I'll just say that.
You're right about that.
I've been talking.
Larry's got SGA. He's the other one.
Hey.
Okay. Now.
So, guys, I have a question. If everyone, hypothetically, if everyone, the two people I'm going to name were in prime shape, who would you think was the better player? And we take championships out of the comparison. Who would you think is the better player if everyone was healthy their whole career? Kawhi or Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant.
I would go with KD too. And I like Kawhi a lot, but I would go with KD. KD is just a bucket.
It's hard to look at
good question.
At the players and say otherwise.
It's a good question.
That's tough. I might take Kawhi. I think he's does very well on both ends of the court. I look at Durant as more one-dimensional, very good at that dimension. But I might take
one-dimensional as you think. He's gotten better defensively as the years have gone on.
Charles, don't listen to that press. You don't play no defense. Kawhi is a better all-around player. I think
Kawhi is better defensively. That's all.
Yeah. Well, whenever Kawhi does play,
that's the other part of it.
He said,
how many games has he missed?
Earl took that off the table. He took injuries off the table.
You can't take it off the table. Well, you have to consider it with Kawhi Leonard. He's missed 700 games.
No, when someone poses a question, David, they can ask it any kind of way they want.
I know you can.
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, but.
Okay, let's move on to my next topic. The trade deadline is tomorrow.
That's so funny.
Okay, we'll start with some teams I'm gonna throw some teams out that might need to make moves. In the West, I'll say the Lakers as well as Golden State. In the East, I think of New York and Philadelphia because they both had injuries. Can any of you see any moves that any of these teams might make? And Chuck, we'll start with you, and we can start with the Lakers.
The Lakers are the only team I think should make a move. They need a shooter, and they need a point guard, a better point guard.
How are they going to get what they need?
I know. So I don't know how that all works, but they have to trade D'Angelo, and maybe for this guy down in Atlanta, Murray, or DeRozan and Caruso or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying?
DeRozan's not a perimeter shooter.
I know, but he can.
So why would we go ask somebody when we need a
because D'Angelo?
So why do we go ask someone who does not going to address the issue?
I know because
it doesn't make sense.
He can flat out score mid range. So I know what you're saying, Earl, but I'd trade him for D'Angelo straight up. I would. I mean,
Earl.
You can trade
What can Los
anybody for
Angeles do?
anybody. When you have a problem, you have to address and
Right.
fix the issue. If you're not doing anything that's going to handle that, you're just wasting your efforts.
So anything you can think of Los Angeles can do, Earl?
They don't have enough to get what they need. They need a perimeter shooter. They really need two. I'm being greedy, but if they could get one, that'd be better than what they don't have. And they need a point guard. LeBron can't be running the point guard. He gonna be he got 39 years old.
It would be nice if they could pull off a Trae Young, but that's too much money.
Yeah. Well, who are they going? Who's Atlanta going to take off of their team for him?
Well, they might want to do it just to get rid of Trae. I'm not sure they're in love with Trae to get out of that contract.
Yeah. I think that'll be a good trick. David, what could Los Angeles do?
He loves talking about the Lakers, by the way.
Oh yeah, thank you for bringing up the Lakers. I don't care what they do. To be very honest with you, I could care less.
Does that mean you don't know what they can do or what? You're trying to get an answer right here.
Earl,
Yeah, he misinterpreted my question, right? He thought I asked him, did he care, right?
Yeah, I asked that. What can they do?
I don't really care,
I hear you.
and that's my answer.
So I'm gonna throw it out there. Their most marketable asset is LeBron James.
Larry, I hear what you're saying. I've heard other people say that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Why is it
It's
ridiculous?
absolutely ridiculous.
Why is
You cannot
it?
trade Charles.
I'll tell you why it's not
ridiculous.
ridiculous. He's in the last year of his contract. New York has plenty of salary cap space.
You just
They can sign him. He will put New York over the top for the championship. He's in the last year of the deal. When Bradley Beal was in that same deal, he said Washington should get rid of him and not let him walk.
He's
He
not
hasn't committed
LeBron
to stand
James.
there. He hasn't
You know
committed
what?
to stand there.
That might be the trade.
And he's the
Going
one,
to the
and they have
Knicks.
no draft choices before 2029. New York has draft choices and salary cap space, and he will put New York. He may very well put. New York on the
That's all makeup too. You don't know that either. We don't know any of that.
What don't I know? What don't I know?
That he would put New York in a position.
No, I said he might put them over the top. If I'm
over
New
the
York,
top of what? Over the top of what, Larry?
I'm talking about to win it.
No.
First of all, the Lakers don't have the balls to trade LeBron.
Well, it's ridiculous. It's just all ridiculous. I'm surprised.
Why is it ridiculous?
Because they just hoisted a banner. When they get serious, when it gets playoff time, LeBron and AD are as good as it gets if they can just add the other pieces to join them.
Let me just
It's
say
just that
this:
simple.
LeBron's the greatest player other than Michael Jordan. So we're gonna get that out of the way.
Right.
But he's 21 years in the damn league. I don't care how many 30-point games he has left. He's not the same dude.
Right.
And you shouldn't even be thinking about him long term. He has one or two seasons at most left in his career.
David, who off the Knicks team would you want if you were the Lakers? Nobody, except for Brunson, and you wouldn't trade LeBron.
First of all,
and they wouldn't trade Brunson.
First of all, the Lakers and the Knicks are poor backroom strategists. So they both make mistakes on that one.
Well, the Knicks been doing pretty good behind this thing. They don't do a good drafting job, but they've been picking up pieces.
So the Knicks have draft picks, the Lakers don't. All right. The Lakers need. If I'm the general manager, I'm thinking long term. The general manager and LeBron have two different goals. LeBron is very short term. He wants to win it in the next couple of years, and if they could trade, they have no.
Let's just keep playing this game. Let's trade Embiid. Why don't we trade Embiid and try to get some draft picks and some good players?
You're taking it too personal.
Because
short term thing. He's going to play maybe 2 more years. He hasn't committed to them.
You do not know this. You don't have a crystal ball. You don't have any idea.
But Chuck, he hasn't committed to sticking with them. He can extend his contract.
That's the game he plays. He plays that game everywhere he's been.
I understand.
It may not be his decision in the end.
Right. He may not have as much leverage now as he used to have.
He's 21 years in the league. And if I'm the Lakers, you cannot build a damn thing around him.
But I wouldn't trade him.
Trade him.
We know you have an affinity for him, But if he was signed, if he would go ahead and commit to staying there, I wouldn't do it either. He's playing. He's at odds with Pelinka, who has to think long term. LeBron doesn't care that they don't have any draft choices. I mean, because he ain't gonna be there in 2029 anyway. Pelinka might not be there if he doesn't do something to build back up that roster.
Well, one thing we do know is LeBron won't be playing with his son.
How do we know that?
David, we don't know that either.
We know that. We know
We
that.
do not know that.
How do we know that?
We know that.
There's a guy at the end of the
His son is not that good.
Can I address it? So there's a guy at the end of the Milwaukee Bucks bench named his last name is whatever Johnson's last name is. And he's garbage. But because his brother's on that team, they got a spot for him. We just talked earlier about
LeBron ain't talking about LeBron is not talking about Bronny being a bench player. He's talking about him being on the floor at the same time. It's not going to happen. And it's not in the Lakers' interest for it to happen at all.
So that's back to my point. First of all, two things would have to happen for that to occur. The Lakers would have to draft him, number one. Yeah. Someone else may draft him.
Well, ain't nobody gonna draft
3 days after the draft to opt in on that.
Nobody's gonna draft Bronny. Yeah. Bronny can't play.
But
Bronny can't
neither
play.
can Jonas's brother. Neither can Jonas's brother. Okay, he can't play either. All right. What's up, Jeffrey Clark?
Hey, Jeff.
Neither can Jonas's brother. To Chuck's point. All right. Exactly. So if something
let me do a shout out to my boy Jeff Clark. Jeffrey Clark, I've known you since we were 10 years old. We still hanging.
Wow.
Glad you're watching.
And Jeff, this is not really a comedy show, but I understand why you're saying that.
We usually do this after hours. We're doing it during the show today. Hey, Jeff? Hey, David, where does Jeff live?
Right here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
Sports capital of the world.
Sports capital of the world. Grew up right across the street from me when we were kids.
Wow.
Sports Doctor, give us your 2 cents. Sports Doctor and I went around on this the other day. Your 2 cents about possibly trading LeBron.
That's not going to happen. The Lakers don't have the ball to do that. That's not going to happen. They're not going to get anything back what he's worth, even though he's 39 years old. They're not going to be able to get no value for him. The Lakers will not trade LeBron James. As far as LeBron James' son, as David says, this guy's not good, man. I don't know what people are watching. This guy's not that good at all. He's not better than his little brother.
Neither is Jonas's brother. Okay, he's not good either.
No, but wait a minute, hold on. That's not even a good analogy. Wait a minute. Giannis is one of the top 3 players in the damn world. He has leverage. He can say, bring my brother on here, or I'm leaving, or whatever. LeBron don't have no kind of leverage like that. He can't go to the Lakers and say, do this or do. He can't go to any team and say, do this or do that, or you better draft my son. He don't have that kind of leverage on no team.
He has no more leverage.
His son's not that good.
The leverage he has,
play.
The leverage he has until 3 days after the NBA draft to decide to opt in. He can make a deal. He'll have his agent out there. If somebody drafts his son, he may go anywhere where his son is.
Then he can go to the G League and play with Bronny in the G League.
It ain't gonna work like that. Just like Jonas's brother don't play in the G League.
Hey, Larry.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. We all have our own opinions. But I know damn well, looking at what you have seen from LeBron's son, nobody's drafting this guy.
He's not that good.
Nobody's drafting this guy.
His name does come up. His name does come up.
So it comes up because he's LeBron's son.
If nobody drafts him, he'll stay in Los Angeles because he'll get the Lakers.
He's not going to play.
He doesn't even start for USC.
Only
He doesn't
a
even
freshman.
start.
He's got 3 more years. He's only a freshman.
He doesn't even 3 years. LeBron had 3 years.
Well, what is he? 6'1"? He's small. He's not that good, and he's small.
So I disagree with Chuck when he says it's ridiculous, but I agree with him when he doesn't. It ain't gonna really matter how well he plays. He's a ticket right there.
As long as his last name is James.
Well,
What
His
about
last name is James. It only is only good for as long as LeBron is still in the
True.
league.
That's true.
The moment LeBron is out of the league, we don't give a damn about Bronny James.
Right.
Not one damn about him.
okay?
Nothing.
Let's do one last thing because we're running out of time. This has been a very lively discussion. Chuck, you reacted the way that I thought you was going to react. I want you to know that.
Of course.
The last thing, I don't know if you guys have noticed with Klay Thompson, but he's been put on the bench. The sports doctor and I had a spirited discussion about him probably yesterday. He's been benched like 4 times this year down the stretch, and I'm talking about not playing the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game. He's up for a contract. The Warriors had offered him $48 million over 2 years. He rejected it. Was that a good move for him? And Chuck, I'll start with you.
One more time. He was offered 48. Say it again. 48
He was offered $48 million over 2 years.
and he turned it down.
Right, because he wanted a longer term contract. Now his minutes are kind of disappearing.
He can't play. He can't play anymore. It doesn't sound like it was a good deal. He can't play anymore.
David.
I mean, when I say that, I mean, he could come off the bench and help a team. He's just not a $45 million a year guy anymore.
Yeah, well, they were offering like $24 million a year for 2 years. He wanted something more like Draymond Green got for 4 years, about the same rate.
They probably should have gave him that money either.
Well, yeah. David, Klay Thompson's days numbered?
Yes, they should be numbered. At some point, you've been a great team.
Right.
You got four banners hanging in the arena from this particular group. It's time for Klay Thompson to think about broadcasting.
Okay.
He's the kind of player we could use with the Lakers. Go Klay. We could use Klay.
Yes, you could.
Not for the money, but we could. But he does.
$24 million is 10 years ago, $5 million.
Right.
Earl, what are the Warriors going to do with Klay Thompson?
They're gonna let him go into free agency.
They're not going to sign him?
They're not going to sign him for any more than $24 million. He doesn't want to take the drop from $40 million to $24 million. I don't blame him. I really love this guy. We don't have time. It's too emotional a subject for me. But
Okay.
to answer your question, what they're going to do, they're going to let him go into free agency. They're not going to sign him. And if I'm him, I'm not paying for $24 million. I'm not doing it. No, I've done too much for the organization. Now you say that you've already paid him for 2 years and he didn't even play. What more do you want the organization to do? He's given them 4 rings. He's been with them for all those years. Don't dog this man like that and ask him to do that. I know what you're saying. Business is business. Don't take it personal. I got it.
Earl shared our conversation from yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I would even give him the $48 million now. That was what I would have offered him at the start of last year. But look,
He's never averaged over 20 a game, Larry. He's averaging 17. There's only 2 points down from what he's been averaging. What's the problem?
okay, we'll let him hit the free agent market. That's all the time we have today. So let's go around for our closing remarks.
Oh, okay, good.
Chuck, we'll start with you.
All right, I want to real quick. So I'm going to shout out the women's college basketball. I'm going to shout them out to the top of the mountain. So Maryland played Iowa this past weekend. 18,000 people sold out. You couldn't get a ticket. Tickets range from 300 to 1,500. The final score was 92-85. Caitlin had 38. It was an event, the largest broadcast of a Fox women's game ever in the history. Your boy did the game, David Johnson. Gus did the game. Look, early this week, Earl's lady, Juju, she had 51 of the 67 points that they scored, and they beat Stanford, who is coached by she's got the most wins in all of college basketball, the coach of Stanford, and they're ranked. So women's basketball, and we know about the LSU South Carolina game. My point is, the college basketball game in the ladies level, it is exciting as hell. They got some star players. You should check it out. It's a wonderful thing. and I didn't mention UConn because they're not in the mix.
Okay. David, you have any closing remarks?
I wish I did. All I can say is simply come watch the All-Star game in Indianapolis, even if you got to be outside drinking beer.
Hello.
David, we're counting on you to get us those press passes, not only to the game, but to
All
associated events too. So
I'll try to work it out as best I can.
we appreciate it. Sports
No
Doctor,
problem.
any closing remarks?
Yeah, I wish the media. I'm tired of the media always hyping up these situations. Now everybody's talking about the Knicks. The Knicks aren't nothing. The Knicks will not get out of the first round. They aren't going anywhere. The team is not that good, and everybody's like that Knicks. The Knicks are trash. They're not. No, they're not trash. Let's slow down. They are not trash, but they're not going anywhere. They're not going past the first round. They're dropping out of the first round.
I think Boston and Milwaukee are overrated.
So
I think Boston and Milwaukee.
we've done this show for 3 years, and I've never said anything in your closing remarks to interrupt you.
I'm sorry. No, I wasn't.
At all. I'm befuddled.
No, I'm sorry. You're
I'm
right. No, you're
befuddled
right.
by your behavior.
No, you're
You
right. I
talked
shouldn't have.
for 3 years about the dumbest, stupidest closing mark thing ever. I say nothing. I sit here patiently. I'm not
You're
saying
right.
anything wild, but you got to be rude and
I'm
just
sorry.
interrupt me.
I'm sorry, Earl. I didn't mean it like that.
Okay.
I meant it.
I don't have any closing remarks. So with that, we're going to end our show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate the comments. And join us next week, where I believe Earl will be the host. Is that correct? Or are you the host of next week, Earl? Or if not, we'll let you know later
No,
on.
I think it's David.
I think
Okay.
it's me.
I'm sorry.
David.
I'm
No
sorry.
problem.
I'm very sorry. We'll
I'll
be
see you
hosting
guys next week.
from the sports capital. All of us may be out there for the All-Star game.
Okay.
David's hosting
And
next
parties. And parties.
week. So tune in next week at 8:00 Wednesday for Real Fellas Talk Sports. We'll see
All
you
right.
then. Goodbye.
Thank you.
We'll be saucering in Indianapolis.